Hey everybody, Star6Wars1 here, and welcome to the next video of the Months of Gynax. For this one, we are taking a look at Mahoromatic, aka Fanservice, 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 Fanservice. Fanservice, 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 fanservice. Yeah. Guess where I got the basis of that video from? To be very honest with you, I'm going to explain the very first problem I have with this series right off the bat. This show has the most nudity I've ever seen in anything. 26 episodes with at least 24, maybe a few less than that, but around 24 of those episodes have at least one nudity scene in them. And I say at least. This has the most nudity I've ever seen in any show, movie, or anything. Dead serious. So that's my first problem right off the bat. Now we can get to the good stuff, right? Let me get back to you on that. First up, the story. The story is about Mahoro, an android working for the Vespar that was a war machine against the alien invasion of Saint. She fought these aliens for what I assume is several years, but I was never exactly 100% sure on that. So, there's that. After the war is finished, you never actually get to see much of the war, by the way. She is given 398 days to live. And the Vespar ask what she would like to do with the rest of her life. And she asked to live discreetly as a maid for a young 14-year-old named Suguru. Now, that's the basic premise. I could go more and more into the story, but I think I'll leave spoilers out. The story already sounds like a very ecchi form of, well, thinking. And you don't get very many things revealed to you immediately. But here's the thing, and this is something I've learned from Gynax over watching each Gynax show. Even the most kind-hearted things, or the most perverted things, have something kind of dark lying underneath the surface. Mahoromatic is no exception. It's got something very dark hiding underneath its ecchi thing. I don't know how to describe it. It's an ecchi show. Come on. This also makes the story do two different things. It tries to juggle around several ideas like psychological stuff, sci-fi, ecchi, romantic comedy. The list goes on, and it's trying to juggle way too many ideas to even hope to work. Now, the good news is that at least one or two of the ideas are there and are good. The bad news is for each idea that's good in the story, there's about 2 or 3 others that do not work. And I'm really, really sad to say that. The story isn't bad, and it definitely picks up during the final few episodes when the show kind of takes a bit of a darker turn. No spoilers here, but the last episode is a major mood whiplash compared to the first 2 or 3 episodes, making them almost a completely different show. No joke. Maybe I'll hint further in the characters you'll get some of the hints towards when I talk about the characters in a moment here, but yeah, this story can be interesting at times, but it does have its problems. So what about those characters? First up, there's Mahoro. Now, I know what you people are going to be like. It's like, maids? Working for a 14-year-old? Oh god, it's that anime! He is my master again! No, not by a frickin' long shot. 1. Mahoro joins of her own free will. 2. There's a kind of a darker reason as to why she's a maid. And 3rd, Mahoro is a far nicer character, and so is Suguru, but more on him in a moment. Mahoro is equal parts a very kind of innocent person and equal parts an old soul. Now, I don't think you'll get exactly what I mean by that if you've never watched the show, but if you've watched even through just the first season, then you'll definitely know what I mean by that. And she becomes the heart and soul of the story because of a lot of these aspects. Again, this is both a really good and really bad thing. It means you like this character a lot, but the rest of the characters can sometimes suffer for it. Not gonna lie. Though I admit that Mahoro is personally my favorite character in the story. So how's about Suguru? I actually like him. Okay, yeah, he's a bit of the generic harem character, but to be very fair, he's not that bad. And at least he's nice, which is more than I can say for some harem leads. Looking at you, Yuichi. So I'll give him that much. Also, let's just put it this way, and I'm gonna try and stay away from spoilers here, but I need to mention this. The last few episodes, especially the last episode, are not kind to this character. Oh boy, this ending is not kind to him whatsoever. Yeah, just watch the show or even just watch the last episode and see. Watch the first and watch the last episode and see where Suguru goes. That's my advice there. The rest, there is one other character, another maid who joins later in the second season called Miwa. But I'm not going to talk about her because she is pretty much a walking spoiler. And if I talked about her, I'd have to spoil pretty much a lot of Season 2, which I actually don't want to do because I kind of like Season 2. More on that later. The rest of the characters, excluding one that I'll talk about in a minute, are hit or miss depending on your tastes. But I personally think they're fine, but that's just about it. They fill their roles nicely, but that they don't need to really be more than that. And they aren't really. And then there is the one character I have dreaded to talk about. The teacher of Suguru. Alright, I'm going to mention this right now. She should have had an honorable mention on my most hated anime characters list. She is one of the most perverted things about this anime, and half the nudity is because of her doing. God, this stupid character. Alright, for those people who've heard of Deers, and if you've seen that one teacher, guess what? Mahoromatic is worse. Because, and I'm going to be honest here, and you're not going to like me for saying this, she tries to straight up molest some of her male students. I get bad memories whenever I see her on screen. The only times I liked her is when I saw her suffer. Yeah, you can tell this is one of my most hated anime characters, if I say that. Too bad she never ended up on my list. She just kind of fell short a little bit. Not by much, though. So, and also, back to that Deer's teacher comparison. Their English voice actor is the exact same. And also to add another creepy level, there's another teacher in a show called Chobits, voiced by, once again, the same person. And Chobits and Mahoromatic have a lot of similarities. And Deers has a few too, and that's really, really creepy. But enough about that, because that's getting off topic. The dub is passable. The dub isn't great, but the dub isn't bad either. It's good enough to support the show, but not good enough to be called an outstanding dub. However, I do have one notable performance of the dub, and that is Bridget Hoffman as Mahoro, who fills the role perfectly. So, there's that. Now we go on to the animation. The animation here is kinda strange. The first season incorporates a really 90s look to it, and you can really tell it looks 90s when you watch it, even though it was made in the early 2000s. Then the second season comes around, which switches to a much more early 2000s animation, which is weird. This makes the entire show contrast animation-wise with the first season, and it's very noticeable. You'll get used to it after a few episodes, except for one little thing. During these little end messages after the credits or before the credits, they switch back and forth between the new and old animation. It's really annoying. Oh, and there's a few live action scenes, but that's neither here nor there at this point. The animation is weird at best. So how's about that music? To be very, very, very honest, the music is lackluster at best. The OST has really no notable tracks, and I barely just salvage it just because. And then there's the opening themes, which are kind of catchy, I guess, but not for the reasons I like. The first ending theme is forgettable, and do you want to know what my second opinion? My opinion on the second ending theme is? Die, 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 die! Let's move on. This show. This is also, by the way, the first of the Gainax and Shaft anime. Yeah, after what I've talked about in This Ugly Yet Beautiful World, you probably get a sense of what Mahoromatic might be like. So, why did it end up in my top 20 list? Two reasons. One, the series is very oddly heartwarming. Like, this is a very heartwarming series for the most part, and really is just one of those odd anime that just work with its heartwarming nature. But I'm gonna guess that's part of the reason why Mahoro works so well. And then there's the other thing, and admittedly, yes, Mahoromatic is a guilty pleasure. This show probably I should not be praising a lot of the things in this anime, because the nudity, the teacher, there are several things this anime did wrong. So very wrong. But yet, I still enjoyed it. Hell, I enjoy it more than Ava. And that should be where I'd be saying something, because people consider that a classic. And I enjoy this more. Yeah. Weird. Overall, I really do like this anime, even if it does have its problems. But with that, I shall give Mahoromatic a 6 out of 10. Admittedly, I am putting way too high a score for this, I think. But the reason I'm scoring it like this is because I look for 3 things in anime. The enjoyment factor, the characters, and the ending. And it at least partially succeeds on the characters, and I did enjoy this anime. So that's why it gets the 6 out of 10. Though the ending is something I'd rather not talk about, because that one is confusing to say the least. Anyways, that's all from me. This has been Star 6 Wars 1, and I'll see you guys next time.